Hey everyone, it's Chris from Sidephone, and today we have a pretty special update. Sebastian and I have recently received production samples of Sidephone, and we'd like to take you through what they're looking like. It's going to be a bit of a two-parter. I'm going to kick things off. I'll talk a little bit about the hardware. I'll show us what it's looking like, how it feels to type the keypad. And in a moment, I'm going to pass it off to Sebastian to take us through the OS of the device. And I do want to mention that as we go through the OS, we want to keep things collaborative. So if there are things that you would like to see adapted, changed, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it at reddit.com/r/sidephone. That's basically been the community hub of the project for the past several months. And this right here is Sidephone. This is the device. For those of you who have been following the project for the past several months, this is going to look pretty familiar, almost identical to what we shared in the spring. And that is by design. The key difference, however, is this is a device that actually turns on. It works. And Sebastian's actually got it hooked up right now. He's been using it as a daily driver in New York, in the US. And as you can see here, if I press the menu button, it's going to open up the dialer. Hopefully you can see it here. I've picked a bright and sunny day in Northern Ontario to demo this device. And I've done that because this is a real world situation. This is where hopefully many of you are using the device by the beach, outside, outdoors, on adventures. So I did want to showcase what the brightness is and how the display looks in this environment. But with that said, you can see the keypad is working perfectly. And I'm going to stay silent for just a moment so you can hear how beautiful it clicks. One of the most exceptional things here is just the tolerances on the keypad. There's no wiggle room. Everything just feels great. There's almost this rubber texture, but a little bit more durable. And if you're joining the video for the first time and wondering why is this man spending so much time on the keypad, it's because this is the world's first phone with a removable USB keypad. I'll show you how easy it is to remove it right now. You basically just take your finger, your thumb, your nail, put it at the bottom of the keypad here, and then ever so slightly just give it a little bit of leverage. And that's enough to detach it from the magnets that hold it at the bottom here. And there's clips at the top as well. And the keypad comes off just like this. Now, what's the magic in that? Why would we want this? Well, this is a T9 keypad. This is great for someone who's going to be using this as a phone first. But maybe you want to set a different intention with the device you have in your pocket at all times. Maybe you'd want this to be an MP3 player first. Now, this dial could become a circular wheel, and that could be something that you place into the device to make it look like a retro MP3 player. Maybe this is something that you want to switch to more of a QWERTY tile, more of a text input, or the one that I'm most excited by. What if it's just a 3x3 grid of icons, and those are actually quick functions, quick actions to the most important things in your life, like, for example, calling a loved one. And maybe it's turning the lights on in your home. It essentially turns this into a universal remote, a remote of the most important functions and apps in your life. So that is a really cool application as well. And then, of course, we've seen people post in the community about game pads, which are very exciting, particularly if we combine it with a silicon case. As you can see here, the keypad and the screen is raised ever so slightly from the device by about a millimeter and a half. That was done by design so that we could nest a case all the way around the device and make a nice uniform fit and finish, completely transforming the color of the device to something like a pink silicon case, a black silicon case, and these could even be textured cases. They could add more durability, more grip. So a lot of exciting potential there. The base phone itself, however, is this beautiful silver matte finish. It's this powder coat, and hopefully it's catching the light a little bit there as I rotate it around. The reason this color is so beautiful is because it will go with any color tile that we put in here, whether it's a green one, a purple one, a pink one. It's an exceptional color that acts as a base for all of those future additions that we add. So quite exciting there. The next thing I want to talk about is the display. And I'll open up the phone one more time for us to see. I'll open up another app. I'll go here to, say, for example, the clock. Or even, you know what, we can go to the camera in a moment as well. But the display, it almost feels like it is jumping off the screen. It almost has this 3D effect. And that's partly because of the glass and how it's raised, but it's also the way it's the composite material and the adhesive is done between the screen and the glass. I believe there's a liquid adhesive that was put between the two layers, and it creates this really cool effect. It makes the viewing angle exceptional. And I think a lot of you would be really impressed with that, the brightness as well, and even the density, the display density. To me, it's comparable to what I would see in a smartwatch, a wearable. So very, very happy with how that had turned out there. Also, one thing that I was very surprised with is the battery life. I actually, the last time I charged this phone was Friday at 7 p.m. to 100%. And over the course of the several days that followed, I had demoed the device, I had taken videos, I had taken photos, I tested the camera, which I'll open for us in a moment here. This is the camera app. And the battery, as it stands right now, is sitting at 37%. So that's after 4.5 days of moderate light usage. I would say, let's probably say light usage to be safe. But I'm very impressed with how that's ended up. And now I'll pass it off to Sebastian. Sebastian's going to take us through a little bit about the OS, give us a bit of a demo there. And we'll close out and talk a little bit about launch and what the plan for the next several weeks is going to look like.
And I guess last thing before we wrap up here, what were your impressions? Did you do sort of an unboxing video? Did you have?
Yeah, we haven't even really talked about it. I freaking love it. The thing is so good. It's so good. I've done some work to it to just make it a little bit nicer, make things a little bit bigger. Limitations to what I could do without the source code, but
even it's incredible for you to walk through the changes over what I had here.
Yeah, because I mean, this is like not super different. Is that going to focus? I have no idea. I can't really see. This is not the most different than it'll end up being. We'll have some things looking a little bit better. We'll have different wallpaper. I just threw this on. Messaging, I've got.
I really did like the default wallpaper too, the way that it was sort of a gradient down to the bottom.
Yeah, my only complaint about the default wallpaper is that is just the stock AOSP wallpaper.
Yeah.
So it's like, that seems a little low effort, but I like sort of the general theme. So I've upped the size of on-screen elements, which you can do in the display settings. I've upped the font size. I don't know about yours. Mine has an issue with the camera driver, where the camera's upside down. But I was able to fix that in open camera. So it still flips them when it takes them, but it actually shows it properly. What else have I done? I mean, that's mostly it. Besides, again, replacing a lot of the default apps and then hiding them so that, again, you're not seeing like SIM card toolkit and whatnot. Overall, I'm pleased. It's working. Just trying to get a feel for it. Like, what are some issues?
You tried charging it?
Yeah, I've been using it for a couple days. Oh, also battery life for me, and I've been using it pretty heavily. At the end of the day, it's at like 50%. And that's with me using it possibly too much and just like taking it out and like trying to mess with stuff. So definitely more than a day. You could probably get 2 days with it being connected to a network, maybe more.
I would like to say too, like as part of your experience. And I know I mentioned it from my point of view, but I said like
it'll last over a day for people, which I think is pretty. I forget if we had talked about this with LeBron or somebody else, but maybe I just heard this somewhere like a year ago. But mostly what people are expecting is, and why? Oh yeah, I think it was on like why smartwatches and stuff, like battery life on things. It's always a day on smartphones. Like nobody on smartphones typically has more than a day or two battery life because people sleep and they charge things while they sleep. So it's not super important to have more than a day. And we totally have more than a day. Like you could, unless you're doing something crazy, it'll breeze through a day. And that is the bottom line, and it's good. Sorry, well, you had another question. I think you said something and I zoned out.
It was just the charger. I certain chargers, the USB
charging, yeah.
doesn't go in because it yeah, I guess the way that it's sort of inset a little bit by like a millimeter. Some of the USB cables haven't made a secure connection. They haven't charged.
Weirdly enough, I guess with all my cables, and I've tried a bunch of different ones, they all work. The only issue I've had is when I plug it into my Mac, it won't charge. Even with the same cable, it like tries to charge the Mac, which is, it'll be like charging connected device when it should be getting charged. So there's some weird issue going on there. But I've charged it with. Sorry, what's that? Your video cut out for a second.
I was going to say, write down that issue. Write down any issue that you observe, and let's create a consolidated deck or a consolidated file to send Laurent literally today. If anything, like all your observations you've had so far, I'll write mine.
I went over a bunch of them in call with him yesterday, but I didn't mention the charging thing. I'll do that because also volume not quite as loud as it could be with the ear, and I think that's purely a software thing because the speaker should be able to get louder on a phone call. It's not as loud as it could be. I did mention that they are looking into it. Same with like speakerphones, not awesome. It feels like it's over amplifying the speaker, like the speaker's not in the right mode. So I brought those up, and they're gonna do what they can. Yeah, that charging. Yeah, no, I've been getting it to charge. It's a little finicky. It's a little finicky in just getting it to not be weird about it. Sometimes I have to restart it while it's plugged in to get it to charge, and that's purely, I think, a battery driver issue. Yeah, not a whole lot I can do with that.
Yeah, have you tried? So my device here, when I charge it to 100%, it will start vibrating uncontrollably.
Mine did that, and I had a factory reset it.
Yeah, it's doing it for me. It's going in and out of battery power saver mode when it's above 90%. Goes off and on. The reason why it's vibrating is because it's turning battery power saver mode on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. So that's something that I could look into. The other thing I was going to say is, have you connected it to Bluetooth devices? What does that sort of support?
Yeah, so I connected it to some headphones. I connected it to my car, which has steering wheel controls. It's a 2016, so it doesn't have CarPlay, but it has like you connect a phone, it reads the messages, and all of that worked fine. It would read my text out loud. I could use the steering wheel controls for music. It actually worked pretty darn well on that. I also use.
Why don't you demo that? That would be cool to put in your demo too, just being in the car, connecting it to Bluetooth and saying like it reading out a text from me or something. That could be really cool. These are all like awesome things.
Yeah, just to show all the functionality. I gotta clean my car, man. For that, I used earbuds USB-C with an adapter. They work beautifully. Actually, this is because the phone volume just isn't great. I called my sister today. We talked for a bit, and I did use it. This was my preferred way to take phone calls. Actually, it works great with the phone calls. The microphone, all of it with the these are Apple 3.5 to just a generic adapter. It worked great. The microphone worked, all of that. That was actually the best way to take phone calls right now, because again, it's kind of quiet. People can hear me just fine, but the output's not great. Yeah, all of that stuff.
Like your call quality has been good.
The call quality is fine. It's just the speaker's straight up not loud enough. The quality is fine. The speaker's not loud enough. Like if there's any way to crank it up, that they can do in software or whatever, would be great. And same with speakerphone.
I noticed that.
Yeah, it just doesn't get that loud. The speaker itself doesn't get that loud, and then on speakerphone, not only does it not get loud, but then it kind of gets like, it feels like the speaker's being overdriven. But it's not, because it can play music at that volume. So there's something going on with the audio driver there. And the camera driver Laurent is aware of, and they are going to fix. Which hopefully, how do you feel about the camera quality? I mean, it's fine, I think. The camera quality, it's what you would expect, I guess. It's probably comparable to the light phone. I have some sample images I took. We should probably pull up a Google Drive folder of the photos we've taken. Any cool ones?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I've got a couple of nice ones. I'm using open camera. I think you said you were using that too. I've got
honestly, like, I love the camera quality. I think it's exactly what we wanted. It's like a retro point.
I think it's got a very cool look to it. Yeah. Maybe you can see it was by the pool the other day.
Yeah.
Like it's got, I think, a nice blend of it just kind of looks a little retro on its own, but it's not bad. It's not bad quality.
I think it's perfect. And I think that with some filters and working with a company, we can create a uniquely side phone aesthetic, which is the most important part.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's meant to be. It's not supposed to be the perfect camera, but it's supposed to have this unique aesthetic to say, hey, you're on your side phone. And when you share that content somewhere else, if you share that content somewhere else, it's like, oh,
that'll be huge on Instagram. People love the photos and throwing those on there and just being like, have a collection. Because I want, when we have, again, sort of my point to a community of users is a thing, less so a community of people who bought it. Like, getting user submissions of photos they've taken and posting the best every week would be awesome. It's like super basic, easy to do stuff. It's super cool.
Yeah.
People get artsy with it. I'll try to get artsy with it. I take a photography class in college. I can be artsy.
Yeah, that would be cool. Video, especially. I think we're in a good place. But even just what you had talked about there in terms of your first impressions, there's definitely 2 to 4 minutes of beautiful content, even in the car, just walking through things, and just being transparent about where we're at in terms of the work in progress. I'm excited. We're going to have a beautiful video literally in the next day or two, and it's all we need to get started and get to that next step.
Now, onto a question a lot of people have been curious about. When is Sidephone going to be available for purchase? Well, one of the things we said from the beginning of the project is we're not going to accept any money from the community until it's in a spot where we think we've built something special. And this month, having held it, having used it, Sebastian having basically been using it as his daily driver, we've reached that point. So this August, we're going to be opening up pre-orders. And there are still some changes we're going to be making throughout August. For example, the OS tweaks that Sebastian talked about, the top row of the phone here being switched to a dash, a dot, and a dash. And then also a few minor enhancements to fine-tune the antenna. Those are things that we're going to be doing over the course of the next month or so. But it's in a good place. And what we're doing in terms of our plan for rollout is we're going to be making 1,000 units available that are going to be shipping this fall. This is basically our trial run. One of the things we realized as we went through this entire project of literally building a phone, this phone right here, from the ground up, was just how complex building a phone is. All the certifications involved, all the testing involved, and we don't want to rush an international launch. It wouldn't be fair to the community, the people that are expecting this device to work on their network, to have app support that they require in their country. We realize there are tons of different things to do to be able to reliably support every region in the world. So we'll get there, but we're going to get there intentionally and slowly. And basically what our plan is we're going to start with shipping 1,000 units to the US. That'll be the first market that we support, and that will be shipping this fall. The next step after that is we're going to be opening up pre-orders for, again, a second batch in the US, Canada as well, UK, and Europe. That will basically be started either in September or early fall, and those devices are going to arrive in winter, either late 2025 or early 2026. That'll be the second batch. And from there, we will open up pre-orders and devices will start to ship all around the world. And that will be into 2026. And by spring next year, summer next year, we expect Sidephone to be available in all different regions around the world and be working reliably, be the phone with a variety of different attachments and modules to it. So that is the rough plan right now. I think I'm about to ruin a very beautiful shot of the city with a woman and her dog. But I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about when Sidephone is going to launch.